Hello, my name is PMkhize, and today we will look at competitive strategy for the automobile industry. To introduce competitive strategy, Michael Porter said, achieving a competitive advantage requires a firm to make a choice about the type of competitive advantage it seeks to attain and the scope within which it will attain it. So companies need to answer a number of questions. One is whether they will compete on the basis of lower cost, therefore price, or whether they will differentiate their products or services on some basis other than cost, such as quality or service. The other question is whether they will compete with major competitors for biggest but most sought after share of the market, or they will focus on a niche that satisfies a less sought after but also a profitable segment of the market. So if we go into an overview of the four of Porter's competitive strategy methods, we look at cost leadership, which is the ability of a company or a business unit to design, produce, and market a comparable product or service more efficiently than its competitors. The next one talks to differentiation. And this is the ability of a company to provide unique and superior value to the buyer. This may include areas such as product quality, special features, or after-sales service. And focus looks at the ability of a company to provide unique and superior value to a particular buyer group, segment of the market line, or geographic market. That is either through differentiation focus or cost focus. So if we look at the diagram, we see that this is based on the competitive scope, whether it's broad or narrow, as well as the competitive advantage, whether it focuses on lower cost or differentiation. And this is the diagram that we're going to use going forward. For this presentation, we chose to use the automobile industry to assess the four companies that we're going to assess their competitive strategies. This is an automobile industry which is a global industry and services different markets from cost-effective and reliable cars to expensive luxury brand. For this presentation, we will look at four companies that we will assess. One is Ferrari, that is a subsidiary of Volkswagen and is considered a luxury brand on sports cars. The next one is Mercedes-Benz, which is a subsidiary of Daimler Chrysler and a luxury brand for sedan, SUVs, trucks, and coaches. And for this presentation, we will only consider the sedans. Toyota, which is known for its reliability and cost-effective maintenance and reasonable prices. Tata Motors is our fourth one, and this is a subsidiary of Tata Group and known for reasonably priced cars. We look at the first one, which is differentiated focus by Ferrari, and they focus on differentiation as one of their competing strategies. Market segmentation, Ferrari focusing on differentiation is on the luxury brand segment based on their design of the vehicles, the engine performance, as well as other procedures. It is a luxury brand and therefore focuses on a narrow competitive scope and higher cost. In differentiation focus, Ferrari aims to differentiate within just one or even a smaller number of a target market segment. It is important for Ferrari as a company to ensure that its customers have different needs and wants. This creates a valid reason for differentiation as a strategy. Since the existing competitor products are not meeting those needs, the customers will definitely opt for the differentiated products from Ferrari. Therefore, differentiation focus is a classic niche competitive strategy. Next one, we focus on Mercedes-Benz, which is pure differentiated. Mercedes-Benz uses a differentiated strategy to attract customers to its brands. The differentiation strategy requires offering of a unique feature that satisfies demands of its customers in a broad scope. Mercedes targets young buyers who have great desire to drive cars, and therefore attracting customers is key reason behind the use of differentiated strategy. Through this strategy, the company has been able to sell high performance and quality cars, making the company one of the largest automakers and sellers in the world. The cost differentiation strategy that is employed by Mercedes-Benz mostly targets customers from fairly rich backgrounds, professionals and executives as well. The social groups targeted in this case have a desire for the modern technology-equipped vehicles. Toyota follows a cost leadership strategy, which is a customer-focused, low-cost mechanism. Cost leadership strategy is an approach that relates firms that are pursuing a dream of getting the lowest cost in the market. It aims to ensure that Toyota as a company achieves its mandate of producing and delivering products of competitive quality and basically at lower prices compared to other competitors in the market. The strategy of cost leadership approach by Toyota requires close cooperation between all important areas of its business to ensure better efficiency and improved effectiveness. The strategy therefore enhances high levels of productivity, high capacity utilization, use of bargaining power to negotiate for the price for the products, as well as effective use of technology in production process. We've chosen to use Tata Motors as a company that focuses on cost focus. Tata Motors currently focuses on cost focus leadership strategy in its operations across the world. It's an Indian automobile company that has employed some lowest price car models in the world. Just like Toyota, the strategy aims at reducing the price of its products in the market as to attract the greatest market share in the world market. The only difference here is that Toyota's competitive scope is broad, while Tata's competitive scope is narrow. Tata have a remarkable low labor cost, extensively skilled labor force, substantial knowledge of the market, and all these factors combined give the company advantage to choose cost-focused strategy, which increases demand for its automotive products. Tata Company's products are readily acceptable to efficient customers since they offer products that are similar to higher priced products but at a very cheap price. We've looked at the 4 companies in the automobile or car industry, and the question is whether Porter's methods were useful for analyzing the competitive strategies for the car industry. One is Porter's competitive strategy is best for analyzing the motor car companies. Most car companies such as Toyota, Mercedes-Benz, Tata and Ferrari do employ Porter's competitive strategies to sell their brands to customers for various parts of the world. Competition is definitely key, and these are some of the factors that define or determine how a business operates, and therefore for a business to operate in a highly competitive environment and generate high returns to its shareholders, it must employ the best market and competitive strategy. This explains why the 4 motor car manufacturers and distributors mentioned above employ the use of Porter's competitive strategy. Similarly, the ever-changing market demands requires the use of the right strategies, which generally is about deciding what business one should do and how it should achieve its returns. The main aim of Porter's competitive strategies employed by the motorcar companies is to ensure that the companies cope with the competition in the market. One also needs to understand that although Porter is good at analyzing the motor car industry, there are other methods that could be useful, and in a way, the four strategies could be rigid, especially in a highly volatile and turbulent market conditions. Long-term establishment will depend on the agility as well as how quick the market and the company is able to respond to those environmental conditions that are changing. A firm's business strategy will not cope within the environmental and market contingencies. Long-term survival then becomes unrealistic. Diverging the strategy into different avenues with a view to exploit opportunities and to avoid threats created by market conditions will be a pragmatic approach for the firm. Therefore, firms can also consider a hybrid model that will allow for that agility and quick responsiveness. Key takeouts from this presentation. One is we know about strategy, that it's a high-level plan that's designed to achieve one or more goals under the conditions of uncertainty. We've looked at the strategies of Porter, which are business strategies that can be employed by a company in order to gain competitive advantage, and it looks at competitive scope as well as the competitive advantage. Cost leadership describes a business strategy where a set of firms become a low-cost producer in its industry. Differentiation is all about a firm that generally seeks to be unique in its area of operation. And then focus is a generic strategy of choosing a narrow competitive scope within an industry. And this could be either from a focus differentiation or cost focus. Competitive advantage is an advantage over competitors gained by offering competitor greater value. To conclude, the main aim of Porter's competitive strategies employed by the motorcar company is to ensure that the companies cope with competition in the market. A firm basically gains competitive advantage by performing its activities more cheaper than its competitors in the same field. According to Porter, the competitive advantage is the ability to always stay ahead of the competition and thus gain superior performance over other competitor companies. And Porter's competitive methods were the most helpful to analyze the motorcar industry. However, there are other hybrid methodologies or competitive strategies that can be employed in cases of uncertainty for a company to be more responsive and agile in cases of uncertainty. Thank you. I will now take the questions.